we have turned a corner. And why is this important for me to let you know really what's going on? Before I was going to just shove it off and go, no, this is not important. Let's just move on. Let's just, no. It's because we have to start taking a stand. We have to stop watching the enemy slap God in the face. We need to stand up and say, it's over. Your days are finished. It ends right now. I don't care the consequences for me. It's only at that point when we have the power, you and I. Look, we have the power in us. We have God's power, but it's only then and there that we're exercising the authority that God gave us. So I just want to say congratulations to you guys. Okay, it's so good to be with you. Hey, what happened this weekend? All right, now this is monumental. All right, and this is really important. I want you to hear this and understand. November the 14th, 2020, Saturday, this past weekend, history was made, a paradigm shift occurred. A group of tens of thousands of supporters for Donald Trump, these are ones on the right side, these are ones that are conservative. They went to Washington, they took it to the streets. Now, I didn't think a lot about it when I heard that they were going to do it because, they had another Trump rally, which, by the way, he pulls a lot of people. Well, Joe can't really because he's sitting in his basement. But he pulls a lot of people. And I thought, well, now this is not going to be a big deal. But when I turned on the television and I saw it on social media, I knew God spoke to me. He said, David, we're turning a corner here. Why? Because these right-wing Republican Trump supporters, they had been in marches before, but they, for the first time, stood up. They stood up to the left. They stood up to the liberal. They stood up to many anti-God values, all right? They were marching with a form of pride. You could tell they had passion in their heart. And for the first time, they were saying, and I'm going to paraphrase, don't you mess with me. Here's the line. It's drawn. My son, he works at cattle ranch, and he knows that you don't walk straight into a cow. You walk to the side of the cow because you don't want to arouse the cow, all right? One time I just walked straight into that cow, and that cow, I'm telling you, put the fear of God in me, attacked me. That's what happened Saturday with the Republicans. Why? Because we had Antifa show up. You saw the rage. You saw some anger, and it brought to a scripture, Matthew 24:7. Jared, let's put that up. Matthew 24:7. When the disciples were talking to Jesus, Jesus was taking them through a long path down Matthew 24. It says, nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Folks, nations are not necessarily countries. Nations are groups of people. We're seeing this right now. All right. Our country is a divided nation. We have the makings right now of a modern day civil war. It's like an American Revolution, but the difference is the Civil War was fought between citizens on American soil. A little history on the Civil War. All right. And most people say it was about slavery. I don't want to get into all that. At the end of the day, it was about money control. It was about power. But how could this great division happen? How could they get past the church? How could you have a civil war when you have a, quote, country that's based on godly values? I'm glad you asked. Three of the nation's leading Protestant denominations, the Presbyterians, Methodists, and Baptists, were all divided over slavery and related issues. These church divisions fractured political parties and ultimately helped to divide the nation. As early as 1818, Presbyterians unanimously declared at their General Assembly that the voluntary enslaving of one part of the human race by another is utterly inconsistent with the law of God. But ironically, however, the same assembly upheld the decision to depose a Presbyterian minister because he had held anti-slavery views. In other words, they kicked him out because he didn't agree with slavery, yet the church said they were against it. In 1845, the General Assembly agreed that slavery was a biblical institution. Where is the church? We saw this march. My question is, where is God's people? They've made many, many movies about aliens, but the question is, are they angelic or demonic? Why don't they want to acknowledge the supernatural?
The seminary education today, that when pastors are being trained, there's no emphasis on the supernatural, even though the Bible's a supernatural book.
As in the days of Noah, so it will be.
Yeah. And it goes down to, well, what is their ultimate purpose? Inaugurate the Antichrist.
If you're like me, and you're tired of organized religion, the same kind of preacher preaching feel-good sermons. I'm a mom raising 2 kids, and I want them to hear the truth. I'm a gatherer right here on David Heavener Live, every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we learn what it means to be a real Christian, to cast our demons, heal the sick, and fight the good fight. I'm not famous, and I'm certainly not rich, but I am a child of the living God, and I stand on truth. I hope you'll join me and many others right here on David Heavener Live, where we learn to use our God-given power. I've come to chew gum and kick the devil's rear end, and I'm all out of gum.